also I know that I told you that we would go through the results, the ripening result of stealing, killing and all this, and the environmental result, but I think it will be too much, okay? Because I feel that it's getting a lot of material. But if you want, I think I have it on the computer. I'm not sure if it's very old notes here, but I think I have it digital. I think I have it on the computer, and I would send it to Giddy. You have the list of all the participants?
Yes.
So I'll send it to Giddy because I can't even remember where it's from. It's so old. Doesn't say anything, but it's kind of, it tells you the non-purchase actions, what they are with, recognition, motive, delusion, then what the action is, what the object, what the condition is, and then the results of it, okay? So if you're interested, you can have it. If you'd rather not know, because of course it's kind of heavy, then you delete it immediately when it comes. Okay, so it's up to you really. It's quite you see it's so many pages. It's quite extensive. All right. Now, where to start? Well, this is we already discussed, but still it might be helpful for others. How do you work? How to work with doubt about enlightenment? What can I examine? So people ask me, well, what if there is no enlightenment? I say, I don't care. I see that on this path, practicing the causes for enlightenment, meaning becoming more ethical and trying to generate a good heart and all this, I feel a lot of benefit from it. I kind of was able through these practices sorting out my aversion towards my mother, so that I was able to bear her without rejecting her. That, for me, this is a big thing. It was a huge thing. She didn't change, but it made my life much easier to go and see her and sit with her and phone her, and even have a little bit the mind listening to what she was saying. I was in India, so every 2 months I would phone, and at that time there was these pay phones. I think 500 rupees. I thought, okay, Mom, thank you, bye, all the best. Call back in 2 weeks. What she had in 2 months. What she had said, I didn't really listen so much. So that was how I was. But then I was able to, after many years of practicing bodhicitta, like just the kindness of the mother, finally I was able to dissolve it. Not just hearing it once and then that was it. On the cushion, yes. On the cushion it worked really well. On the cushion, when she was in Switzerland, me in India, I have a very open heart towards her. The moment I was in Switzerland and she would start with her complaints, it was, closed again. But this is how it starts, that on the cushion you're able to do it, and then slowly, you're always able to do it in your daily life. So don't think the practice doesn't work when it only works on the cushion. Yeah? You just continue with your practice, and then slowly it will work. So this is, and how you do with doubt, well, we said, you with enlightenment. What will happen with me if I trust that there is enlightenment, and what will happen to me if I don't trust it? And then you read up on what enlightenment is, what a Buddha is, like this, Geshe Mashi taught what the different bodies of a Buddha, I think, the bodies of a Buddha, what does it mean being enlightened and all this. There's quite a lot of things you can read up and study. It's complicated, and it's not something that we can even try to understand properly. Because what a Buddha is, if you read sutras, and the Buddha is described, which attribute is always given there? I see you read a lot of sutras, don't you? What attribute, usually? The qualities of a Buddha are, for us, inconceivable. Because we try to make the Buddha an ordinary being like us, just with a good heart and a bit of wisdom. It's far more than that. It's huge. I mean, enlightenment is huge. Yeah? Otherwise it wouldn't take so long to get there. So, I know that there are other philosophies who teach different. They talk about you can attain enlightenment in 1 second and in one thing. Sometimes also in the Tibetan tradition you read you know, that enlightenment will be, if you follow your guru, enlightenment will be 2 seconds. So what does that mean? Will it be from now in 2 seconds? Or what? It means that we have been existing since beginningless time. There is no beginning. So compared to beginningless time until now, and now until enlightenment, if you compare these two time frames, from now until enlightenment will be like 2 seconds. That's what it means. It's still a long time. Okay, you said that the intention of each action is composed of recognition, motivation, and delusion. Does that apply to skillful, beneficial actions also? Well, probably not delusion, but a positive state of mind. Yeah? In order to create a positive karma, you have a recognition, I want to help. Huh? Autumn. I think I never, oh yeah, I heard it when you, Autumn, by the way, cleaned the gompa. Would you please say thank you to her? She did it to feel good and so that everybody prostrates in front of her. She did it in a totally selfless way. So yeah, you have recognition, motivation, but not delusion. If it's a skillful or positive action, you have a positive state of mind. Yeah, love, compassion, patience, these kind of things. What is the delusion there? No delusion. If there is a delusional part also towards a generous act, does it mean it creates also negative karma? What do you think? You had the list, what you need for the action to be complete. What do you think?
If it's about a positive action, it just doesn't matter. It's not.
No, if it's done with, for example, I'm Switzerland, okay, who pretend to be very ethical, but if you look underneath the cover, maybe sometimes also not, we have a lot of pharmaceutical industry there. So let's say I'm the boss of Tsipagaigi, or I shouldn't mention those names, is it? Also, Tsipagaigi doesn't exist anymore, so now it's Novartis or something like that. I'm the boss, and we put a lot of effort into creating some medicine. But then, because it has too many side effects, because there is people who check that, we have an office who checks medicine, whether it's too strong and it's too good. So I cannot sell it in Europe. What do? I build a hospital in Africa with the condition that they buy my medicines, who I can't sell in Switzerland. What do you think that makes karmic-wise? Yeah, exactly. Not very pure. You might become very rich, that's true, but you will be terribly unhappy about being rich. Being afraid of your money, being afraid of, paranoid and all this. So yeah, it does. All these factors are kind of determining. Yeah.
It was my question. You said the intention is divided. It has 3 components.
Yes. Oh, it's yours. I thought it was. It sounded very much like chocolate. Sorry.
And one of them is delusion.
Yeah.
So it means every intention has a delusional part in it.
Well, for us, yeah, because it's done with even the positive one kind of. So it's mixed. It's kind of. You can have, for example, every anger has also ignorance in it, ignorance of inherent existence.
Yes.
So even the positive action has wrong view in it, or ignorance of inherent existence, for us.
So this is why it's samsara and it's very different.
Huh?
So there is nothing we can do, even a very positive act with a very good intention, it will have a delusional part which will be either attachment or ignorance.
Unless, that's the hard thing about the whole teaching. We can suppress those delusions a bit. Like true awareness, mindfulness, concentration and all that. But we cannot eliminate them. We can weaken them, but we cannot eliminate them. The moment when they start getting eliminated, never to come back, one after the other, and many imprints, this is why it takes a long time, is when we have realized emptiness directly, from the path of seeing onwards. That's why it's so difficult. It's not just, you see, we're Christian Judeo tradition, we're kind of used, you do good deeds, you do bad deeds, that's it, you made it. Here, Buddhism, not at all. So this is why. First you give up negative actions, then you give up your delusions, because your life is easier when you give up negative actions. Your next rebirth will not be so agitated anymore, and you need to defend yourself and all that. Things will come, almost naturally. And we know that there are people like this. In general, it's the rich people. Why? They already have karma to have all this money. I have a friend of mine, she is a millionaire, I don't know how many millions, 100 something. And she buys an apartment, then she kind of changes everything, so she spends a lot of money changing it, then she doesn't like it, it's too noisy, she sells it, she earns $500,000. That's what she said, oh, not quite, 450,000.
Oh.
Just like this. Or this is the one with the modern art, yeah, the gallery. So she buys a picture of a young artist to support him. He becomes famous, so she paid 200, then it's worth 20,000 all of a sudden. And she's a really bad businesswoman. If she would like to do business, she doesn't, she's stingy. So, miserly, so she doesn't know how to do proper business. It just happens. It's really amazing to see that the karma she has it just comes. Yeah? She's also quite generous. She receives so many phone calls every day, days, that. She gives quite a lot of money. She really does. She's stingy with stupid things, with like, in the house, then she had like water with soda water, and then like, boxes. So then after 3 days he said, what? The box is already empty? From then on, only tap water. In that way, it's really full of contradictions. Full of contradictions. The employees that she has, she pays them miserably badly. But she gives money as a gift. But paying, she doesn't get any pleasure out of paying. So there we go, where we said, kind of doing a good deed because you feel good. She would be an example like this. She says, I give money, I feel physically good. Anyway, does that answer the question? So yeah. So you have to give up first your negative deeds, then you give up your delusions, because it will be easier to work with them when your life goes well. And then you give up all views, really, to get out of it. All views of dualistic mind. Because you can't say the view of emptiness is right, ultimately. Because the moment you say this is right, you need a dualistic other something. Then again you go into dualism. Yeah? So, yeah. Now, as the Buddha says, my teachings are not true, but they lead to truth. And he also says, my teachings are like a raft if you want to cross the river. If you want to go to the other shore, you have to get rid of the raft. So basically we learn all these things in order to get rid of them at the end. When the mind is prepared to go into emptiness, so that it doesn't fall into nihilism, and you go like, okay, then nothing exists. So this is what makes Buddhism very, very, very profound and quite difficult to practice. Can you talk about birth or the first inhaling? Can you talk about birth or the first inhaling? I don't know. I don't understand. Yeah.
Like creation? Like
Huh?
what happens, what happened when we get into this world? Like the first inhaling, what is going on there?
Well, it's a continuation of the baby in the womb. So what exactly changes? You would have to ask a doctor. I don't know. How come they don't breathe in the womb because they're in that water? So obviously they're not breathing as we breathe. But it's a continuation of the baby in the womb. The baby doesn't come about when it gets born. There was something there before. This is why women have big bellies. because there's a baby inside.
When does the mind come?
You know, when you say first breath, that means when the baby comes out of the womb.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a continuation of a body that, of course, didn't need to breathe in the womb because there's water, but I don't know exactly how they get the oxygen, maybe through the nombril. Ask a doctor, ask somebody who knows these things, I don't know. How it is possible that then all of a sudden they can make their lungs function, whereas the lungs probably don't function, but still they're there, I think. I don't know so much about anatomy.
But what about life? I mean, we are living.
Yeah, but the baby in your womb is living.
Yes, but something is making it alive. What is it?
The consciousness. There's sperm and egg coming together, and then the consciousness enters it, which comes from a previous life. That's the Buddhist view. There's your consciousness in the bardo, as we said, in the intermediate state, wanting a body, looking for rebirth. It sees two people making love. This is what I said yesterday. Can you imagine the fight when your consciousness sees Richard Gere and who was it, Demi Moore? Making love. Oh, I want to be born to them. You will not be able to think like this. There will be attachment to one of them. And we want to participate. That's what they say. The mind wants to participate in that sexual game. And then out of anger against the partner of the one who you're attached to, the bardo being dies. And zup, enters this combination of sperm and egg. This is what Buddhism says. Okay? Again, you don't need to ask a doctor what they think, how life comes into a sperm and an egg. See what they say. Because for me, kind of, the Buddhist explanation makes more sense. That's what gives it life.
There are children. I read a scientific article.
Yeah.
They have research about this. So there are many, thousands of cases that people remember past lives.
Yeah.
Young children. And
Yeah.
then the scientists, they go and check
Yeah.
the facts. And sometimes the most dramatic cases is when you have a birthmark,
Uh-huh.
and then it's similar to something that
to an
happened in
injury
past
or
life. So
something.
someone remembers that he had, I don't know, someone who his hand was cut because he was a carpenter, and the baby remembers he was a carpenter, and he had a birthmark, and then they go and check and they see. But there are very few cases, only one article I read, that people remember, young kids remember what happened between death and rebirth. This is very rare. There were 20-something cases, and they remember how one I told, he got inside he found a couple, he liked them, not sure if it was a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
And he got inside the woman, he remembered through what she drank.
Mm-hmm.
So he got inside this is how he remembered the boy, the young kid. Inside a drop of water, and then it was he tried a few times, but he didn't drink it.
These consciousness were desperate for a body.
And he liked this couple
Yeah.
for some reason. So there were 20-something cases that they really described it.
So that consciousness in the bardo has a connection with you already, a karmic connection, when you become their mother or their father. That's why they're attracted to this specific thing. It can be positive connection or negative connection. So that's what I mean. So it's very complex. So this is the Buddhist explanation when you say, how does life come about? Because the sperm and an egg for the Buddhist is not enough. You need a consciousness. And that is the consciousness that was in the bardo and then enters it. Okay? Yeah, again, you don't have to believe it, but that is, and if you want to read up on it, then it's in the Lamrim Chemo, there is a part of how birth comes about. They're quite extensive. First it is like yogurt or like jelly, and then, it's like this, and like that, and then the senses form. And it's pretty much, it's amazing when you look at, because now they can film a baby in the womb, it's pretty much exactly the stages that they filmed that were written down 2,500 years ago, and there was no machines to look inside. So, also there you can go, oh, maybe. Also the Buddha held up a glass of water and said, there are beings in here. Now you look at the drop of water under the microscope, of course there are beings in here. How did he know? No microscopes at that time. So what part is reborn? Well, the mind, the consciousness, with the karmic imprints, together with, if it's what comes out of the womb, the combination of sperm and egg, which has grown in the womb for, usually for humans, 9 months. That is reborn. We call it a baby. And the baby has feelings, of course. Baby has emotions. This is why they say the way you think about your baby when you're pregnant has a big influence on the baby. Not just what you eat and what you drink, but also your emotions towards the baby, whether you reject it or whether you're really looking forward to have it and all this. This is psychology, it's not Buddhism. And I think probably true. Okay?
For now it's fine.
Huh? Sorry?
I guess for now it's fine.
But now it's fine. Good, thank you. Regarding the precept, dinner is understandable, but why is it improper to eat breakfast? Well, yeah, this we had. So this is Lama Zopa style, very strict, you know. Losang Lamrim at one point he says, "Oh, you do, you know, the Vajrasattva retreat. They had to do Lama Chöpa every evening, like Vajrasattva talk every evening, because Rinpoche said every morning Lama Chöpa, prostrations, you know, in addition to these 4 sessions of Vajrasattva." So I told Geshe Sonam Rinchen, he said, "Wow, yeah." Lama Zopa said, "Wow, a lot of merit, but very difficult." So Lama Zopa makes it difficult for us so that we get more merit and we purify more negative karma. Why? But you can't, you know, usually when you other precepts it's okay to have breakfast. And also usually in this tradition, like Lama Zopa, it's not this, it's like FBMT, it's Lama Zopa. When we take precepts more than 1 day, then also we have breakfast. But you can also abstain from breakfast. How and where does one search for the Guru? Oh. By practicing. That is the sign for the Guru that you're ready to follow instructions, because you know what you're doing. No need to go to India. I had my Guru in front of my nose for 1.5 years until I understood that he's my Guru. And I understood because I followed an advice that I would never have followed normally. But somehow something made me go and say, "Yeah, okay, I'll do that." Next time I saw him, I recognized him as my Guru. You see, first, before somebody manifests as your Guru, they need to be sure that you will follow their instructions, because otherwise your spiritual practice will fall apart because you feel guilty. And then you don't even want to see the Guru anymore. You're not even happy when your Guru comes to your place because you haven't followed instructions. So, yeah. I don't know if are you very tired? Because I could tell you a story how somebody found his Guru, which is, it's quite, okay. Photographer in Spain. He did a course like you here. He liked the things and everything, and we had a lot of conversations together. And by the way, this is how I got the Spanish to be silent. Because Paloma said, it's no point, they will never keep silent. And so I said, look, even the Israelis can keep silent. So Paloma said, you can't. So I said, I refuse to believe it. They all kept silent. So thank you very much for being sometimes a bit undisciplined. So I could, because you are able to keep silence. I mean, the morning is very nice.
See tomorrow.
Huh?
See tomorrow.
We'll see tomorrow. Tomorrow is all day. So it's very clear tomorrow. Nowhere talking and nothing, unless you really need to. Yeah. So that goes also, like even discussing like Dharma friends matters. If you can wait until Saturday or the way home or something, wait. Really make an effort not to talk. Very quickly we think, oh yeah, it's important. Okay, so him. So then a few months later I got an email from him and said, hey, Rita, I was still Rita at that time, somebody invited me to go to Nepal with him, but I don't know, do you think I should go? So I said, well, if you don't want to go, why would you go to Nepal? So then he said, okay, maybe I'm not going. Then a few weeks later, he sent me another email and he said, imagine what happened. I was in the streets of Madrid, and all of a sudden I see this Tibetan monk So I go up to him and I said, wow, are you Tibetan? And he says, yes. And he kind of here, if you have a chola, here is a pocket. So he reaches in and says, I live in Kathmandu, which is in Nepal, and this is my phone number, so if you ever go there, please come visit me. So then he said, do you think I should go? I said, yeah, now I think you should go. Okay, he went. Phone number not valid. Nobody knew this Lama. So you're sitting in Nepal, in Kathmandu, not knowing what to do. And then he saw a sign, Himalayan Yogic Institute. It's the city center of Kopan. Lama Zopa Rinpoche giving a talk. So he said, well, I have nothing to do, so I might as well go. So he went, and Lama Zopa Rinpoche, talk starts at 7. Now it's a bit different, but then talk starts at 7. 8 o'clock, Rinpoche is nowhere to be seen. 9 o'clock, Rinpoche is not here yet. 10 o'clock, people start to chant mantras. So he said, people started to chant mantras, I fell asleep. And then Rinpoche came maybe, 11 o'clock, midnight. He started to talk, and every word was just meant for me. Yeah? So that person with the phone number, who was it? Was it Rinpoche manifesting in a certain way? Because if he would have seen the sign in Madrid, he wouldn't have gone. But this personal contact of somebody giving him a phone number and say, come and visit me. Yeah, so that's a way of finding your guru. Siliana, I think, when she was in Laudo and then Lama came by helicopter, she saw the helicopter, she fainted. Just by seeing the helicopter. There's many stories how people find their guru. Me, it took a while. It really took a while. And he gave me so many hints and so many signs that I didn't understand a thing. Quite thick. But then when I followed that instruction, I thought, it's him. Because I also thought I saw it's Lama Zopa Rinpoche like everybody else in this FBMT club there. So, but he wasn't Lama Zopa, it was Kid Center Rinpoche. But he's the Lama I had first teachings, I took refuge with him, I had my first initiation from him, it was Rosh Hashanah, he was there for us when we needed advice, and he was there, he was in Dharamsala, I would go down to see him. He was just a very nice person for quite a while, for a year and a half, until I understood. So no need to go everywhere. I think the best way to find your guru is if you want to practice in that tradition, you need to make up your mind the tradition, because otherwise you want to practice yoga and Hinduism and you go and find, you look in the Tibetan tradition, it's not the same. Yeah? So then you need to look in that tradition that you want to practice, and then you just continue to practice. Also there is a very nice prayer which is called calling the guru from afar, where you yearn for please manifest, like this. But you don't need an official prayer. You can just say, look, Guru, I am ready. Where the heck are you? Please manifest. I need you. Yeah? You see, that Guru is somewhere. The same way as if you're not married yet. And probably your future to-be husband, if you are a woman, is already existing somewhere. Even though you don't know him yet. But he is somewhere. So there needs to be a spark that brings the two of you together. So the best way to find him, as I say, is practicing. You have lots of instructions and books and all this. Yeah. And also to see, am I ready to follow advice? This is another thing. Or do I always know better? The way I understand it, karma is an endless cycle. I do something to someone because it was done to him before, and later on it will be done to me by someone else who will suffer or enjoy the same act later on. Is that the case? Yeah, more or less, in a very simplistic way, yes. And if so, is it like that until someone purifies it? Yeah? Or when we consciously, you started the problem, I think I have a right to give back with anger, and then you get hurt. When I'm in the position